children, how are you? I hope you all are doing good. Children, now we will do active and passive voice. Active and passive voice change from the active voice to the passive voice. Some general observation. जब active से passive में change करेंगे तो उसके लिए कुछ general observation क्या है वो देखिए. Now look at the following sentences. Rahul writes a letter. A letter is written by Rahul. The above sentences mean the same, but they are different in form. In sentence 1, the verb is writes. Rahul is the subject of verb writes. Rahul क्या है? Subject है. He also performs the action of writing. और उसका action क्या है? वो लिख रहा है. When the subject of a verb also performs the action named in the verb is said to be in the active voice. इस condition में क्या होता है कि जब जो subject का जो verb होता है वो action को perform करता है तो verb कौन सा आएगा? Active voice. In sentence 2, the verb is written. Letter is the subject of verb written. But the letter doesn't perform the action of writing. जो letter है वो जो काम करने का जो action है, writing का जो action है उसको perform नहीं कर रहा है. In fact, it receives the action of writing. When the subject of the verb receives the action named in the verb is said to be in the passive voice. अगर action क्या आपका जो subject है वो receiver है action का तो verb कौन सा माना जाएगा? Passive voice. Extra facts. The active voice denotes that the subject of the verb is the doer of the action or acts or is active. The passive voice denotes that the subject of the verb is the receiver of the action or is acted upon or is passive voice. Only transitive verbs can be used in the passive voice. Passive voice में transitive verb का ही use किया जाएगा. Now change from the active voice to the passive voice. Active voice से passive voice में how you will change. Active. Neha tells a story. Passive. A story is told by Neha. Megha wrote a letter. A letter was written by Megha. Now you see that. The active subjects have become the passive objects. जो active subject है वो क्या बन गया बाद में? Passive objects. The active objects have become the passive subject. और जो object था वो subject बन गया. We have used the preposition by before the passive object. Passive object से पहले क्या use करा है? By का. Appropriate forms of the verb be, is, was, etc. have been used followed by the third form of the verbs told and written. Verb की कौन सी form use की गई है? Third form. Now study this table. Tense or modal plus base. Active voice or passive voice. Simple present. Love, loves. In passive voice, am loved, is loved, are loved. Present continuous. Am loving, is loving, are loving. जब change करेंगे तो क्या होगा? Am being loved, is being loved, are being loved. Present perfect. Has loved, have loved. Has been loved, have been loved. जब simple past में होगा तो loved, was loved, were loved. Past continuous में होगा was loving, were loving. Was being loved, were being loved. In past perfect, had loved, had been loved. Simple future, will love, will be loved. Shall love, shall be loved. Future perfect, will have loved, will have been loved. Shall have loved, shall have been loved. Can, may, must, etc. plus base. Can love, must love. Can be loved, must be loved. Now some general observation. The term voice is applicable to verbs, clauses and sentences. There are two voices, the active and passive. The active voice is the basic type. Active voice क्या है? वो basic type है. The two voices enable us to look at the same action in two different ways. The active voice looks at the action from the point of view of the agent. The passive voice looks at the action from the point of view of the person or object affected by the action. Action से क्या उसका जो प्रभाव है वो क्या किससे दिखाएगा? Action से. The passive voice is generally used in writing reports, describing scientific experiments, etc. For in such cases, what is done, has been done or needs to be done is more important than the agent. Agent से ज़्यादा important क्या होता है इसमें कि what is done, what has been done ये ज़्यादा important होता है. I hope it is clear to you now. It's time to revise. You can revise it.